it's fine.
نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي سهل إلهي كل صعب بحرمة سيد الأبرار صلى الله عليه وسلم سهل يا رب صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. Respected listeners, and particularly those of you who have sent us some questions so that we can answer them. Today's session is the third session of questions and answers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make these sessions of questions and answers means of our understanding the deen correctly. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me the ability to explain what I would like to explain to you. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my respected listener, give you the tawfiq to understand the answers. We have some questions here which have been asked by brothers and sisters. So although the questions are a bit difficult, but inshallah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, I will try to answer these questions as I have studied and according to my limited knowledge. I will try my best to explain the questions. But anyhow, if you still have any doubt in the answer, by all means, you can still again ask the very same question. Inshallah, we will try to answer it again. Someone asked a question, please could you provide some clarity on the matter of marrying a brother who is from a different area in Pakistan or different caste, and a girl's parents are not agreeing to nikah due to the reason which is beyond the guidelines outlined in Islam. What are the rights of the girl in this situation? How can this be resolved? I would like to quote a hadith narrated by Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, in which Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, تنكح المرأة لأربع لمالها ولحسبها ولجمالها ولدينها فاظفر بذات الدين تربت يداك أو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. The hadith which I have just read, the narrator is Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, in which our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions, commonly people, when they look for a spouse, when the parents are looking for a rishta for their sons, people have different thoughts when they come to get their children married. Our Prophet ﷺ says some people, they look at the girl's wealth, how much her parents have the wealth, and they go for the wealth. This is the mentality. Our Prophet ﷺ mentioning the different mentality of people. When they are getting the children married, people have different mentalities. A woman is married due to 4 things. Some people look at the wealth of the girl's parents, how much wealth they possess, how much they have, and they go for that. Now, some people's mentality is not the wealth. They look at the parents, they look at the background, they look at the caste, who she belongs to, which tribe she belongs to. So they look at this. So this is their mentality. Now, there are some, وَلِجَمَالِهَا. Some people's mentality is not the wealth, it's not the family, it's not the background of the girl. They look at the beauty of the girl. No matter which tribe she belongs to, which caste she belongs to, they look at the beauty. They want a beautiful girl for their sons. So they go for the beauty. This is some people's mentality. Now, some people's mentality, the Prophet ﷺ said, وَلِدِّينِهَا. Some people get their children married, not because of the wealth, not because of the family, the parents of the girl, or the beauty of the girl, but they look at the deen. They look at the deen of the girl. If she is religious, they will go for it. And they will marry their son. Now, the companion to whom Prophet ﷺ was mentioning this hadith, Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said to him, Taribat yadak, fasfar bizati deen, taribat yadak. If you want to be successful, may your hands stain in dust. If you want to be successful, go for deen. Go for the religion, look for the religion. So, due to the ignorance in our society, many things are happening, they should not be happening. And because of the ignorance, particularly our elders, mashallah, they have done so much. You know, if we look at our elders, it was our elders, who erected the masjids back in the 50s when they came here. And had they not done this, maybe what we are seeing now in these beautiful mosques, maybe there was a possibility we may not have seen this now because of our elders. They've done so much, mashallah. We appreciate what they've done, but because of the ignorance of the religion, sometimes they make some decisions which are not backed by the Sharia, by the Qur'an and the Hadith. So the Hadith I have just read to you, just keep this in your mind. I wish the parents come to know these instructions and the teachings of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this Hadith clarified that a woman is married because of 4 things, and then at the end of the Hadith, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to the companion Abu Huraira, if you want to be successful, then go for the religion. Why? Because the woman, when she will have children, if she is religious, then the children will become religious. And she will try to instill the khawf and the fear of Allah in the hearts of the children. If you go for the beauty, if you go for the wealth, and if you go for the background of the parents, the beauty will vanish, the wealth will go, but what will remain with one is the deen. This will remain with one while he's alive, when he's going from this dunya. So I hope you've understood the answer of this question which you have asked. Now, another question has been put forward. They say, what do you think about the tuition fees debts? The debt a student has to pay off to go to university. The £9,000 a year which is paid by the government, which has to be repaid once you earn a certain amount of money. Can a person do Hajj when in this debt? And another question in the same question is, or when one still has a mortgage that needs paying on a house, so means can he do Hajj? Is Hajj farz? The masala is, if someone has to pay the debts, if he owes some people money, then the masala is when he will look at his savings, how much saving he has. First of all, he has to take out the money which he owes the people and the money he needs to spend on his family. After that, what remains, the remainder money, from that money, if that amount is so much he can do Hajj, then he has to do Hajj. Hajj is farz, and also if the zakat is due, then he has to give zakat. Now, in this question, the question is, somebody's paying mortgage. Somebody bought a house and he took a mortgage, and he's paying, say monthly he's paying £500. So the question is, what about this person? He has to pay this mortgage, say for 25 years or something. So now, what about this person? Is Hajj farz on him? Because he's got a long-term debts to pay for 25 years. The answer is, some Muftiyan Kiram, they say yes, he has to pay zakat as well as he has to do Hajj. Now some say, just look, annually how much he pays, he has to work out. Say if he's paying £500 a month, then in a year he will be paying £6,000 of his mortgage. So what he needs to do, so when he's calculating everything, he needs to take out this £6,000 which he has to pay for the mortgage. Now after that, the money he possesses, the saving he has, from that very saving, then if that saving is so much that he the Hajj, becomes farz, then he has to do Hajj. And also from that very saving, if zakat is due, then he has to give zakat as well. So this is the answer is that you have to work out how much annually you pay your mortgage. If it's £500 a month, then you will make £6,000 a year. Then just take out the 6,000 aside, put it aside for your mortgage. Then what remains, then you have to pay from that saving. You have to do the Hajj. If it's so much, you can do Hajj, and also you have to pay zakat from that money as well. You say, is it true that we always have a jinn with us at all time? No, it's not true. Now, first of all, let me explain you. Remember, the Shaytaan is also from the family of Jinn. The Shaytaan is also from the family of Jinn. Now, the questioner is saying, is it true that the Jinn is always with us? First of all, Jinn is a makhluk whom we cannot see. Shaitan or the devils, they are the makhluk we can't see. They can see us, we can't see them. As we, the angels, is a makhluk of Allah. We can't see them, they can see us. Now, the Jinn, as you've asked, is it true that it be with the person at all times? No, Jinn does not be with us. But there's a hadith of Prophet says, every child is born, along with him, a shaitan is created for him. A shaitan. Shaitan is always there with a person who misleads him, makes him go astray from the right path. The jinns are there, they are living around us, but they're not with us all the time. And remember, our Prophet ﷺ said, we, the human beings, are under the divine protection. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has appointed many angels to protect the human beings to the extent each and every limb of our body is under the divine protection. Our lips, our eyes, our ears, everything is under the protection. Our Prophet ﷺ said, had there not been this divine protection for the human beings, then the jinnas would have made this life hell for them. But because we are under the divine protection, we are always protected. So the shaitan is with us. He's always deviating us, and he's always misleading us. And how we can get rid of shaitan? Through the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the weapon. The shaitan is there, but shaitan can get, be rid of by making dhikr. As soon as you make a dhikr, shaitan just moves back. You come into the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So remember that if you want to overcome the shaitan, then there's only one way, and that is just connect yourself with Allah, and inshallah through the dhikr, remembrance of Allah, shaitan will stay away from you. But jinn is not with us. They are living around us. But a jinn, as you said, is it true? Is it bees with the person all the time? No. The shaitan is there. He's always there. But when we do the dhikr, shaitan just moves back. Right. The question is, someone asked, who is Hazrat Maulana Yusuf Motala? You always mention in your talk. Can you please give a brief background about them? Well, first of all, let me tell you, if you see me in this position, I am here because of my Hazrat Maulana Yusuf Motala. Who Maulana Yusuf Motala is? Maulana Yusuf Motala is a personality who has done a great favor to the people, not only the UK, but the entire Europe. Sheikh Yusuf Motala, just a few months back, has passed away. Let me tell you this. And we have lost our mentor, our guide, our teacher. I've studied with him for 6 years. He's my teacher, my mentor, my sheikh, my murshid, he was. And I myself and all my colleagues and those who have studied with him, we really miss him now. He is a personality who erected an Islamic institute, college, Islamic college in the UK, in Yorkshire, in Manchester, a very small town, and near Bury there is a village called Ramsbottom. Over there in 1973, Hazrat Maulana Motala, he bought a place and he started this Darul in which the students, for the boys, started becoming ulamas, scholars. And I studied there with Hazrat. Hazrat Maulana Motala was a wali of Allah. He was a friend of Allah. He was a saint. He was a righteous person. He was a God-fearing personality. And he was the first one. He's the founder of Darul Bury. And today, all the English-speaking scholars you will see, you will find in the UK, not only in the UK, in Europe, but through the whole world, in America, in Canada, you will find Portugal, you will find his students, doing the deen work. He just recently, he went to Canada, he was called there, and he, on the 10th of Muharram in Canada hospital, he passed away, and he is buried there. He is the one I always mention in my talks. Inshallah, we will keep on mentioning him in our talks, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاتَّبِعْ سَبِيلَ مَنْ أَنَابَ إِلَيَّ. You follow the footsteps of the one who has turned to me. He was really a God-fearing personality. And I've studied that you asked a question where I've studied with him in Darul Bury from 1982 till 1988, which is in Lancashire. And I've studied there, became an alim. And after that, with my some colleagues, I went to Egypt in Al-Azhar University. I studied there, and I studied the hadith along with tafsir and other subjects. And I did a BA course in hadith in Cairo, in the Al-Azhar University. Another question is here. In a dream, can Shaytaan take appearance of Allah? As we know, he can't take the appearance of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he guides to the right path and also he misleads. These are the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يُضِلُّ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. Whomsoever he wishes, he gives them the guidance, and whomsoever he wishes to mislead, he misleads them. This is the attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But remember, the prophets always show the right path. For this very reason, Shaytaan cannot appear in one's dream in the form of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He cannot come and say, I'm Prophet. He cannot do this. Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whosoever sees me in the dream, really has seen me in the dream. But the questioner is saying, can one see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Yes. Because Shaytaan, he is totally deviation. His mission is to deviate people. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he guides people, and also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throws people away from the right path. So Shaytaan can come in the dream and say, I'm Allah. He can do this. But he cannot come in the form of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why? Because prophets are totally, the guidance comes from there. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his attributes are two. He gives guidance and also he misleads. So one Shaytaan can come in a dream and say, I'm Allah. But he cannot come and say, I'm Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And also one can see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi saw Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala many 100 times in his dream. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah, he saw Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his dream when he said, "Oh Allah, tell me through which part of zikr, or how can one gain your nearness?" Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "Through the recitation of Qur'an." So Imam Ahmad asked him, how? Through understanding the Qur'an or without understanding? One is reading the Qur'an without understanding it. Or one has to understand and then he will gain your nearness. Allah said, with understanding, without understanding. Qur'an is the book, you recite it, even though you don't know what the Qur'an is saying to you, you don't understand Arabic, but still you will be rewarded. This will take you to Allah. This will connect you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the book, Qur'an. You read it without understanding, you get the reward. And you read it with understanding, and it's even more better than you understand what the Qur'an is saying to you. I think I have only about 5 minutes left now. Another question, is it bid'ah to have Qur'an khatam and istimai dua? Now, first of all, before we need to know the definition of bid'ah, innovation. What is bid'ah? Bid'ah, innovation, is something which is not part of deen, not has been introduced by Prophet ﷺ or by his companions, and we make it part of deen, and we bring it into the deen, and we consider it as part of deen. This is a bid'ah. Let me give you one example. Now, as someone asked a question here, istimai, collectively recitation of Quran. The people gather in the mosque and do the recitation. Some people, when someone dies, and people gather in the mosque, in the masjid, to do the recitation, and then they pass on the sawab to the deceased. Now, this amal of istimai, recitation of Quran, collectively reading the Quran, if someone considers it as necessary, that one has to do this, then the reward will reach to the deceased, then it will become a bid'ah. But if someone doesn't, if one doesn't consider it as necessary, then if people gather and they decide to do the recitation, nothing wrong with it. In this hadith of Prophet ﷺ, in which he says, when people gather in the mosque and recite the Quran, then the tranquility descends upon them, then the angels descend, and then they cover them with their blessed wings. So, collectively recitation of Quran, it's not classed as bid'ah, innovation, but it's something good. And also because what happens when we are doing a dhikr, remembrance of Allah collectively, it gives you encouragement also. Whereas when a person is alone, he gets a bit lazy. But when you are with a gathering, then this will motivate you more to do the ibadat or the recitation of the Quran. And also the question, in the same question is, Quran Khatam, yes, Quran, remember Quran Khatam, either you do the Quran Khatam individually or you do the Quran Khatam collectively. There's a hadith of Prophet ﷺ, after the completion of the Quran, when one completes the recitation of the Quran, man khatam al-Quran falahu da'watun mustajaba. Prophet ﷺ said, when the Quran is completed, meaning the recitation of the Quran is completed, when after that, whatever dua you will make, it will be accepted. So, khatam of Quran in the masjid or at home, when people gather, if we don't consider it as necessary or wajib, then it will not be a bid'ah. But if we say, no, this is wajib, we have to do it. If someone doesn't do it, and then you object on him, then it will become a bid'ah. Because look, Sharia, has, the Prophet has encouraged us to do the recitation of the Qur'an. He said, "Iqra al-Qur'an." Keep on reading the Qur'an. Qur'an on the day of judgment will intercede for you. So, if someone is reading individually, that's fine. If people get together and recite the Qur'an, that's fine. But if someone says, no, you have to read in the gathering, then this will be bid'ah. If someone says, no, you have to read individually, then this is, because Sharia, there's a flexibility in this. You can read it individually, you can read it in a gathering. Sharia has not made it compulsory for us to read individually or collectively. Sharia said you do the recitation of the Qur'an, either you read it alone at home, or you come in the masjid, sit down alone, or you people get together and read the Qur'an, that's fine. Just let me tell you, just another example. Prophet ﷺ encouraged us to make a dua after the fard namaz. He said the dua after first prayer, it's accepted. It's accepted by, there are moments and there are times, there are occasions in which if you make a dua will be accepted. As I just said, after the completion of the Qur'an, dua is accepted. And also after the completion of fard prayer, dua is accepted. Now if somebody says, no, you have to make a dua, the Sharia hasn't made it compulsory for us, so you have to make it. If someone makes it, it's fine. If someone doesn't make it, that's fine. And also like in the ijtimai dua is done after the first prayer. If somebody makes it compulsory, no, you have to do ijtimai dua, then this is a bid'ah. If you do it, ijtimai dua, that's fine. And if you don't do it, that's fine. So, this is where we're going wrong today. We make things, compulsory. We just start giving the verdict. No, this is compulsory. You have to do it. Now, when the Sharia has given us a flexibility, the Sharia says you do it whichever way is suitable for you, then that's fine. Right, what is the Islamic opinion on getting married young? And is it considered Sunnah to get married young? Well, our Prophet ﷺ, he said there are rights of parents and also the rights of children. Children demand from the parents that their rights should be fulfilled. And parents have some rights as well. Now, today, the rights of children, the foremost right is, our Prophet ﷺ mentioned, when a child is born, he should be given a good name. He should be given a good name. And one of his rights is aqiqah. An animal should be slaughtered on his behalf on the 7th day. If she's a girl, 1 animal. And if he's a boy, 2 animals will be slaughtered on his behalf on the 7th day. And he should be given a good name. This is the right of a child, that the parents should give him a good name. And when he reaches the age of puberty, when he becomes mature, then it becomes the duty of the parents to get him married. It becomes a duty of the parents to get him married. Now, in this day and age, the youth, they understand that we need to get married. But do they know, but just getting married is not enough. But there will be some responsibilities upon you then. And the responsibilities are the girl whom you are marrying. Then she will be dependent on you. You have to provide her lodging, you have to provide her food, clothing, everything. Then this is your responsibility. Today there are so many parents who have got their children married, they've done the right thing. Now the children then they think, now this is our parents' responsibility to provide my wife everything. No, the parents, they found a rishta for you, they got you married, they've done everything. Now it becomes your responsibility as a husband. But today our youth are not taking this in their minds. They think, oh, we got married and that's it. Our parents, will provide everything. Now, listen to me. Listen to this hadith now. One companion was unmarried. Our Prophet ﷺ said to him, have you got a wife? He said, no. Have you got a wife? He said, no. He said, have you got a slave girl? He said, no. He said, do you have the means to get married? He said, yes. Then he said, then have you got the means, meaning can you get married? If you have the means. Now here, let me explain you one thing. In this day and age, when our parents, spending so much money on the wedding, there's a need of a simple wedding. This is, we need to ponder over and think about it. So much money is wasted on marriage. Rather than wasting that much money on the marriage, why don't you save the money and give it to your child whom you get married? Make life easy for him. Spending money, we think, today, because of people, we do everything nowadays. We think, oh, if I don't spend this much, what people are going to say. This is a mentality, what people are going to. Then you know what he said? He said, then you are brother of Shaytaan. Now, what I'm trying to explain to you is, if someone has the means, which means he has the means, he has the money to provide the wife, the girl he will marry, the food, the clothing, the house, everything. If he has the means, then he should get married. Then the parents shouldn't delay. But if someone doesn't have this, then Prophet ﷺ, Ya ma'ashar shabab, man istata' minkum ba'a. He said, oh youth, Prophet he addressed the youth. He said, oh youth, if you have the ability, if you have the means to get married, then you should do so. Then you should, what does it mean? Physically one is well. Physically he's well. Financially he's okay. He will able to he will afford and he will provide everything that needed in the marriage. Then that's fine. But he said, if not, then one should fast. A young man who doesn't have the means, or sometimes, let me tell you, say the parents may not have a means, or maybe parents are looking for the rishta, but they can't find it. They can't find a suitable rishta. So, for that period, while he's waiting to get married, the Prophet ﷺ, he addressed the youth one, the young one. He said, then you should fast. Then you should fast. Why? For fast will reduce your sexual desires. So, if someone has the means, now the conclusion of the talk is, if someone has the means, if physically is okay, he has the means, he knows what responsibility are his, then the parent shouldn't delay and he shouldn't delay. But if he doesn't have the means, then he should first get the means, and then think of getting married. I hope you've understood, and inshallah, what the questions which are left over, inshallah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, in our next session, I will answer those questions. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the true understanding of the deen.